So my friends, greetings everyone, ANDIvax is here this year and you can't see me today because the summer turned out extremely hot. Both literally and not. There is a lot of interesting work of different kind, and that is why it's been a month since I am not be able to make any large format big video review. And today we have a little review. Let us dive into history and talk about the device which is created for the pitch correction, known as Autotune. It is a registered trademark and a lot of us know of Autotune from the legendary track called Believe from Cher. Do you believe in love after love? And then came out the track from AVR 65 called I'm Blue. Both of these tracks have quite interesting stories to them. But let us start from the end. AVR 65 is not an autotune, it is Digitech MIDI vocalist. And as for the track Believe from Cher, one more curious story has to do with it. Initially, when the producers of the track were telling about the creation of the track, they say that they have used Digitech Talker device for the track. But some time passed, just few months, and they admitted to using a device called Antares Autotune. How can Autotune help you and me in our daily production? Firstly, it is of course a great time saver. If you are doing some demos, you just apply Autotune and it all already sounds right. I mean, it is a device that helps us correct the pitch. Also, except the correction, Autotune serves for adding some spark to the track. Let us turn to the cover for one very famous track. I shall disable Autotune so we can hear how all of it will sound then. And now I shall apply Autotune and everything will sound as it should right away. As you see, a lot of modern styles, a very popular one is trap, for example, then their Autotune is used just everywhere to this or that degree. That is why I decided to tell about Autotune, to be exact about the plugin Autotune EFX 3. It is the cheapest alternative from the Antares trademark, hence I am using exactly this simple but quite effective device in my production. Also, it is necessary to note that the device from the Antares company works in a most accurate and adequate way, basically with any material. Here you can see different pitch of the sound: soprano, alto tenor, baritone bass, and also you can even tune the instruments. To add to that, quite often I am using the instrument mode for guitars, because quite often the new guitar strings have a tendency to detune. Plus I am using guitar with Floyd Rose tremolo and it adds additional detune into my performance. That is why Autotune really speeds up the work process over the track. So there is no need to do any extras on correction of the pitch of sound. The tracking function. It has two modes of detection. There are normal, it is used by default, and if some notes are detected incorrectly, then you have to choose a mode. Then all is of course very simple. We set the key here. The major minor chromatic scale, which means that all notes are enabled. Product manual recommends starting from the settings of such kind. To be exact, they recommend looking for the right key to the people who are not that fluent in the musical terms. Also pay attention that in the majority of programs of this kind, the keys are marked with the sharp notes. But here the notes are marked with a flat mark. C, D flat, D, E flat, E and so on. Then comes the most important control fader, which is called retune speed. By the far left corner we can hear almost no effect of the tuning. But in the right corner it is our special effect. But personally, most of the time I'm using the position which is a bit more than the middle, but the position of the fader, for the work to be unnotized, or it is marked as 15 in digital readings. We can bring on the changes, add or remove some notes. Then there is a very interesting humanized fader which allows the prolonged notes with sustain to preserve the effect of feeling alive. I shall show it to you sometime later. Then goes automotion, a very interesting function which allows using some sequence, some kind of a pattern, which plays as soon as you push the trigger button. There is a way to synchronize it to the tempo, the settings of the playback speed, and the style of the pattern playback, hard or fast EFX tuning, soft or normal, and legato, which is smooth flowing from the note to note. Now let us see how Autotune works in the real project.
Счастье мурашки по телу, о боже, душу обними, сердце приласкай. Счастье мурашки по телу, о боже, душу обними, сердце приласкай. Счастье мурашки по телу, о боже.
So, as I already said, with a position close to 15, Autotune works quite insensibly. I shall note that with the manual pitch correction which I do in the Ceremony Melodyne, I'm using an Autotune afterwards, so it additionally corrects the intoning of the vocalist. Here the humanized fader will come very handy for us. Pay attention, I'm going to loop this passage now. And especially in the end of the passage, pay attention to how Autotune will work. Then I'm going to move the humanized fader to the far right position, and all the nuances of the performance will be preserved. In other words, the humanized parameter helps us getting rid of the artificial feel in the long, non-staccato passages. Let us try the possibilities of the automotion now, which is offered by the plugin from Antares. It is a quite interesting, creative feature. I only have to know that this trigger regulator only works in that moment, when the plugin has the incoming sound coming to it. And now let us talk about alternatives to Autotune. I shall tell you right away that for some reason I did not find that many worthy alternatives. There are a few free plugins.
Счастье мурашки по телу, о боже, душу обними, сердце приласкай. Счастье мурашки по телу, о боже, душу обними, сердце приласкай. Счастье мурашки по телу, о боже.
The most correct working alternative is the plugin from GVST called G-Snap. It is a free plugin, but it does not reach to the quality of the Autotune. There is one more very interesting plugin. Unfortunately, it's only 32 bits, so I am forced to use the bridge. But it doesn't work very accurately. You can clearly hear the voc with the formants, so the sound gets distorted. Take a listen.
Счастье мурашки по телу, о боже, душу обними, сердце приласкай. Счастье мурашки по телу, о боже, душу обними, сердце приласкай. Счастье мурашки.
Well, I would recommend this plugin for using for some effects. Now the effect of format changing is very popular in house music.
Счастье мурашки по телу, о боже, душу обними, сердце приласкай.
Tango is a very interesting little plugin. Unfortunately, it is no longer produced by the Isotope company. Plus to that, I have noticed that when I had many instances of this plugin used in projects, then the problems come up. Plugin works pretty good. Once again, it doesn't reach to the quality of Autotune. It has some mistakes at times in detection, but nevertheless, it is a quite interesting alternative for the fans of the old school plugins. The plugin which is supported now and is being in development is Isotope Nectar. It costs twice more than Antares Autotune EFX 3. However, we have a bonus here in the form of the modules chain, which we can even change in their order, as you see. Let us hear how this plugin works. We select minor for the scale.
Счастье мурашки по телу, о боже, душу обними, сердце приласкай. Счастье мурашки по телу, о боже, душу обними, сердце приласкай. Счастье мурашки по телу, о боже. Keep.
Here we can hear it clearly. How Nectar catches this low note badly. And Autotune copes better. I would say that the algorithm from T-Pain was brought over to this new plugin by Isotope. An interesting alternative, it doesn't work as cool as the product from Antares, but it has an interesting effects block, interesting presets. To cut it short, a very worthy product. I was looking for a very simple, very easy plugin that simply corrects the pitch of the sound. And I found it. It is Autotune for me. I recommend using it in your productions as well. ANDIvax was here with ya, and till the new mixes, my friends. And domu arigato, Mr. Roboto.